Hi folks, this is Stratman from pipware.com. Just going to take you through a typical trading day, and today we're starting the day just after GMT midnight, which for me is 1 p.m. in the afternoon in New Zealand. So this is considered to be the significant point of the day for a lot of traders. A lot of people, new pivots are created, pivot points are created for the day at GMT 0, which was like 26 minutes ago. We're in the Asian session, so right now the US session closed 2.5 hours ago. So I usually I have in this area of my dashboard showing me from 2 hours ago, that's 22 or 10 p.m. the evening before, that's where New York closed, and so from then onwards New Zealand was considered the current market, then Japan opened, and then Hong Kong has just opened at GMT midnight. This has given me an idea of what's going on in the market in terms of volatility. When we trade, as traders, we need volatility. We need price to move for us to profit. If price is only moving at the moment in the last 2.5 hours 28 pips, I mean, that's a pretty small amount. It's very hard to profit off that. So what I'm interested in is that we've got enough volatility since the New York session, say around 40 pips, to be kind of occurring here. So I'm looking for that to happen. Hasn't happened yet. The next part of the dashboard here is showing me what's happening with lower lows and higher highs. So the M1 through M15, at the moment these arrows are showing that on those time frames price is making higher highs, which means we're in an uptrend on those three time frames. H1 to the daily are all showing low, they're all got lower lows on them, so they're considered to be in a downtrend. So this is what that's telling me. Over here I use the THV system, and this is a summary of what's going on every time frame. If we just quickly look at one time frame, this is the M15. I'll switch down to the M5, and then I'll switch down to the M1. Now there's certain rules to do with THV. One rule is based on, are we above this thing called the coral? Are we above the cloud or below? Is the fast tricks crossing the slow tricks? That's the thin one crossing the thick line here. And what color are they? Is the fast tricks above zero? There's actually 4 specific rules that we consider. So for the M1 time frame, we think of 4 rules. Then we've got the M5 time frame, we've got to think of the 4 rules as well. We've got the M15 time frame, and we're looking at the same 4 rules. So over here, this is a summary of the 4 rules for each time frame. So at the moment, what we're seeing is that this is the coral rule, the cloud rule, slow tricks rule, and the fast tricks rule. A green signifies that rule is met in a bullish sense or in an uptrend sense, and a red means that particular rule is met in a downtrend sense or a bearish sense. Yellow means, well, it's a little bit indecisive. It's neither bearish nor bullish. When we get all 4 showing green, the whole lot highlights showing that we've got all 4 rules met. Down here we're showing all 4 red because we've got all 4 rules red met, which means that this is a bearish signal. What I typically look for is I'm looking for M15, M5 and M1 all to be totally green or all to be totally red. Sometimes I'm not too concerned about this coral rule on the side, and sometimes I might be more specifically interested in M5 and M1. So a combination of using this fractal part here and this THV part gives me good opportunities or good signals to enter trades. And in fact, when one of these changes direction, a reversal, that gives me an alert on the MetaTrader platform here, and I can look at taking a trade, take a closer look. While we're talking about the fractal area, the dashboard is not the only place where information is drawn for you. It's also drawn on the chart. At the moment I've made these quite bright, these lines, but they're built off these fractals. So these thick ones are the next lines that need to be broken for direction to change. So if we look at the month resistance right now, which is this one, it was automatically drawn by the fractal part of the indicator. Sorry, we'll look at the, well, we don't have the month and the weekly on here. We'll go down to the daily and you'll see that. But the thick ones are basically, if I had the monthly and the weekly shown here, which you can, this is totally customizable, you can add them in there, you'd see that they were down arrows as well. And the thick lines mean that they've got to break that for the arrows to change direction. But anyway, the last part of the dashboard is showing you your typical information. It's got pips to open, pips to the current moving average that you have set up on the dashboard. At the moment it's set for the compass, which is a special indicator, free indicator I've made for people. And then this is the last swing low, last swing high distance, and the last swing how many pips it was. And I've got it set at the moment for the dashboard to only show information here for the M15 time frame. Again, it's customizable. You can have it showing for any time frame you choose, or you might want it to actually change values here based on which time frame you're on. So full customization. You can add more columns here if you like. There are other columns of information, like what's the current time in these markets. We show lines on the chart based on these colors, which if we go down to the M15 time frame, you can see those, although because I've made these lines so bright it's hard to see them. I'll take them back to their normal color shortly. But anyway, now we've done that, let's just look at a typical day, how I assess it. Well, first of all, I'm out at the monthly time frame, I'm looking at the monthly candles, and I can see that my automated support and resistance lines that have been created here are showing me exactly where support and resistance is. Also, I've got a stochastics here showing me that the trend is considered slightly down, slightly bearish, and that's because of this engulfing candle on the far right hand side for this current week. We really are looking for, if we get a break of this line, that's fantastic. If we get a break of this line, that's fantastic. Or we're looking for bounces off these lines. If we then go down to the weekly time frame, we get a bit more detail, and the daily support and resistance lines are going to show up now. And so instead of just the three lines we had before, we've got the center one. So we're seeing even more support and resistance in the center. So we're looking for other places for price to bounce off, and it's very clear from what the dashboard is drawing that these are places of significance on the charts. I'm just going to turn the colors off now back to their dull color, because I like a fairly dull, fairly naked looking screen. So bear with me a sec. Okay, that's a bit better. You might be able to just faintly see my lines. If you hover over them, they show the values there of what they are. But anyway, the next step is to go down to the daily time frame, get a bit of a look at what's going on there. We're seeing a bearish, slightly bearish trend. We've got our lines of, we're very close to a support line there and a resistance line there. Go down to the H4. Same idea, just getting an idea of what might be going on with trend here. We've had a spinning top here, that's of interest. Go down to the H1. H1 is where I really start getting focused. I'm now seeing my previous H4 candle that's drawn out automatically by the dashboard, and I've seen that we've just got a break of that right now. So it's telling me that to the moving average that's now showing up, we are 18 pips away. And then once I've done that, I would normally zoom in on this, go to the end, and I might even zoom in again. And I'm looking for what's going on in terms of the support and resistance here. I would have drawn a line there because when I first started this is the lines of interest of where I was interested in before starting this video. So those are my main lines. In fact, not that line. Those two lines there were the two lines I was interested in. Price was just here. It's just broken that. It's just broken the last H4 candle. I'm seeing price movement. I'm looking at the possibility of a trade. Right, taking those off and now moving down to my normal time frame that I trade. I'm now looking at what's going on the M15. I've drawn those big candles so you can see them a bit better. But now you can see I've got some lines shown here. They're showing me the top and bottom of each of these ranges. And I'm seeing that we're up to 30 pips now. I'm just waiting for this to get closer to 40 pips. We might have an opportunity to go off the back of a fractal line up here to trade backwards. That would be fantastic. So once I'm at that point, I'm waiting for my trade to fractals to show up, THV to show up, and then I'm into a trade. So hopefully we show you some trades shortly.